Now, I have done a lot of DIYs, makeovers, hacks in my apartment over the years. And in this video, I'm gonna tell you the 7 things that I regret doing and the 7 mistakes that I have made in my apartment so you don't have to make those mistakes. And if you're new, hi, my name is Wayna. I make rental-friendly interior design videos. All right, the first thing that I am gonna go ahead and admit as a renter that I regret doing is overpainting, okay? If you have watched a few of my makeover videos, you will see that I did some light painting in my laundry room. I did some light painting in the living room, my bedroom, my son's room, and even in the closet inside of my multi-purpose room. But if I had to go back, knowing what I know after I moved out, your girl's not trying to paint. At least I'm not trying to paint myself. If I was to paint something in my new apartment, it would probably be professionally done, and I would just allot to have it repainted when I move by a professional, because I personally do not like to paint. And when you go for bold colors like I did in my living room, I used Nightclub by Bear. Honey, when I tell you, it is a bit of a headache. So if I had to do it again, I would either stick to one room, have somebody else paint, or just use peel and stick, because that was a breeze to take down some of it. The next mistake that I made in my apartment was using only overhead lighting. When I look back and I think about my apartment, it was dark because it was on the first floor, it was in a corner, there was a lot of trees, and so I probably overcompensated because the apartment itself didn't have a lot of lighting, and I went really bold on my, overhead lights and light fixtures and all of that stuff. But when I think about the way that the place felt, it kind of felt like an interrogation room. Yeah, like I didn't have any lamps. Yeah, no, maybe one floor lamp at one point, but that was only for like a few months. Majority of the lighting came from overhead lights, and then I had a bookcase that had some lights in there, so I would turn that on too, but it let off a lot of light. So in my new phase of renting and the things that I like and kind of experience, I would say that having lamps, floor lamps, lighting underneath your cabinets, lighting underneath your island, just like those really nice accent lights along with candles, really does upgrade a space. So that is a renter mistake that I made before that I am not making now. I am on board with, no overhead lights at night, nothing but lamps and candles, and it does make a difference. Now, the reason I think I kind of lean into that now is because I have a lot of natural light. So if I'm thinking about it right, I can understand where I was coming from before. If you live in a dark apartment, sometimes that's the only way that you can get light is by having the overhead light. But don't hold back on your ambient lighting, make it cozy at night, because it gives it a different vibe for sure. And don't forget about the color temperature of your lighting, because that makes a big difference too. I talked about this in a bathroom makeover. I talked about not having like the warm light, wanting to have daylight bulbs so that you can wake yourself up when it's time to get dressed in the morning. But then the same can be true when it's time to get undressed. Maybe you don't want all of that daylight, filling the bathroom, because then now, you're supposed to be turning down and the lights are super bright. So having a nice lamp in the bathroom or a nice candle will definitely provide that ambiance feeling. Or you can put, like I said, lights underneath the cabinet so that you can have like the lighting in the floor and all of that good stuff. But lighting definitely will hurt your space, and we all have access to it. So make sure you apply it correctly. Now this is serious. And I'm being serious right now, okay? If you think your place has mold, do not take it lightly. I felt so sick for like 2 or 3 years And when I say sick, like my fingers felt tight, my shoulders, my hips, I would get headaches. And I thought that it was like all in my head, because when I would go out of town, I would feel perfectly fine. And then when I come back home, I would get the symptoms again. At one point, I did a little staycation down in Aventura, which is only like 30 minutes away from my place. And we stayed in a hotel and I felt perfectly fine. I get back home, I feel like crap. Now, the scary thing is I had those symptoms and I never like really got checked out for mold, but I had like a lot of inflammation. And when it was time to move out, we had some cabinets that were stacked up vertically. They were horizontal at first, then I stacked them vertically, and they were near the window. And when we took those cabinets down and looked at the back of them, they went straight to the trash. They were filled with mold. And I complained about it to my leasing office multiple times, to the point where they brought out the professional HVAC cleaning services and cleaned all of the vents, sprayed them white, and did all this stuff. And I still had those symptoms, so much so till I couldn't even sleep in my room. I would sleep in the third bedroom because I felt so bad in that room. And I knew I felt bad, but I was like, maybe I'm just being a little bit, but I do know I don't feel good. Point I'm making is, do not ignore your symptoms, because if you live in a warm climate like I do, then it is a high possibility that mold could be making you feel that way. And I pray that I don't have like no real bad medical problems or anything from this in the future, but yeah, your girl will not be playing with mold ever again. If I get those feelings, like that tight feeling again, like immediately it getting investigated, because the way I felt, yeah, and the way that those cabinets looked, horrible. So just be on the lookout for that. All right, now if this video is gonna help you save your coin, then go ahead and hit this subscribe button, because I make a lot of videos to help you not make the same mistakes that I've made, inspire you, and to upgrade your space on a budget. Not a cheap budget, a realistic budget, okay? Now, this next mistake I am not totally guilty of, just a little bit. Mainly in the beginning of my decorating journey, I was guilty of this, which is not having enough curtain panels on each side of the window. When I first started decorating, I had some horizontal striped curtains, and it was like one panel on each side. And when I tell you, it looked so sad looking back. When I learned how you should actually apply your curtains, hang them high, hang them wide, and then make sure that you have enough fabric on each side of the window to cover the walls, it was a game changer. Hands down, game changer. And I recommend that you make sure that you hang your curtains appropriately. It is not only something that's going to make your space feel larger, but it's also going to soften the space, going to knock out those echoes, and it's going to add texture. Curtains just do so much for a space, and if you get them right, you instantly upgrade the place, okay? Instantly. We've been talking about this for a long time on this channel, and when I am on the internet and I'm looking at, you know, the little makeovers and stuff, and people who share their spaces, people still making this mistake. So I'm not trying to call you out, but if you still making this mistake, go ahead and fix that. It's 2025 at the recording of this video. We shouldn't be making curtain mistakes anymore. You feel me? Okay, good. Now, hanging the curtains is not the only thing that you need to like really perfect. Curtains, linen, fabric, no matter whether it's on your body or on your wall, you need to make sure you iron that, okay? Don't be putting no raggedy, wrinkled curtains up, because you know better, okay? And when you know better, you do better, all right? So that was a mistake that I made. And if you don't feel like, you know, taking them down and ironing them, you can use a steamer. I have a steamer that I absolutely love. It's by Conair. You've probably seen it online, other people using it. I will be the first to tell you that steamer is hands down #1. And if you want to pick it up, I'll put it in the comment section or the description box down below. But make sure that those curtains are ironed and make sure that they are, you know, just neat. Okay, just don't be throwing them up there any kind of way. And then drop some of your rental mistakes down in the comments, because I know I am not alone. So go ahead and share with me some of the mistakes that you've made, and I would love to hear them. Which leads me into the next rental mistake that I have made. When I first started purchasing stuff for my apartment, I started with the smaller things first because they were the things that I could afford. You know, I didn't go for the bed or, you know, the dresser. Actually, in my old apartment, I never put a dresser in my bedroom. The dresser that was in my bedroom towards the end, I think, was from my son's room, but that was originally in my multi-purpose room. So I never purchased furniture. I was doing a lot of DIYing. And when I look back, I did a lot of, you know, decor and, you know, art. I did a lot of small purchases. Don't do that. Hear me out from the heart, okay? This video, again, is not to just make content. Like, I'm telling you from experience, okay, sis? When you are designing, buy your big pieces first, okay? Because you can make the most inexpensive decor look good if you have a nice sofa or if you have a nice bed. But if you have like an old, unstylish bed, it's gonna be a big challenge for you to make that bed or that sofa look nice. Trust me. So you can splurge in those areas, and then you can skimp on, you know, the throw pillows and the decor and the artwork and frames and stuff like that. You can find that stuff at anybody's Salvation Army, Goodwill, any thrift store. Heck, you can go to somebody's house and ask them for decor that they don't like anymore and probably make your space look nice if you have really nice staple pieces and really nice anchor pieces, okay? So don't go overboard with the trinkets. You know, bigger is better for multiple reasons. Number one, it's better because when it's time to move, you just, you know, move a few pieces and you don't have all of these little small things to wrap up. Number two, you don't have to worry about doing all this dusting, because I had just so many little small pieces of decor. And I'm like, why do I keep buying all this stuff? Like, don't get me wrong, I love a little vignette. Most of us do. But it comes to a point where it's kind of like, okay, I don't need all this stuff. So that's what I did in this space. Started off with the big things. I haven't really purchased a whole lot of decor. I've been doing some thrifting, which I'll share with you in a future video. But yeah, chill on the little small decor, okay? Get your foundation together first. Now, I think we're all guilty of this at some point when we start our interior design journeys. I have made the mistake in the past of impulse purchases, purchasing too many trendy pieces, and just not knowing my personal style. And I am taking my time with my new space because I'm trying to make sure that I'm not just, you know, riding the next wave of trends, because trends will come and go, but your personal style and what makes you feel good in your home is timeless, priceless, and unique. So I am committed to having like mood boards and purpose for each room so that I can purchase things that are going to last me, not just, you know, through the trend, but actually last me for, you know, a few years or so. And I'm also in the process of making decisions that's not popular, because right now a lot of interior design is very warm, lots of round, you know, soft curves, and a lot of old world charm and organic things. However, everything that I see online doesn't need to make it into my home, okay? This is where we have a little bit of identity and we don't try to just be like everybody else. So I've been playing with a lot of like hot colors, especially in this room. And part of it is because this season has been a struggle to have joy every day. And all of those boring beige colors like throughout the whole place, I can't do it. I need to have some vibrant, jolly, jovial colors in my space. And that's what I've been doing. So is it popular? No. Does it work for me? Yes. And I would recommend you do the same. So now I have a 48-hour rule. If I want to buy something, I'll wait 48 hours. If it's not there, it wasn't meant for me to get it. And it gives me time to like really ask myself, do I need this? Do I have something in the house that's already similar to it? Because I do so many different sales, like interior design or decor sales on this channel, because I'm always buying stuff very impulsively. And I have done a lot of returns throughout the years. And so with me doing all those returns, I still have stuff to sell. That means I have a problem and I'm not shopping correctly. So now I'm more calculated, like I said, with mood boards and my 48-hour rule, and, you know, just being true to my interior design needs and not just what is, you know, trending up and down my timeline, trying to keep up with the Joneses. Okay? We're not doing that. At least I'm not doing that no more. So it's plan, measure, then buy. I'm lying. I still be doing a little bit of impulse purchasing, but it's not as bad as it used to be. And for that, I'm proud of myself. And so the next mistake is actually two mistakes in one, but they're related. So when I first moved into my last apartment, I didn't read the lease until like a year in, maybe even two. And what prompted me to like really read every clause and every single page is because when I started putting my content online, I had a lot of comments talking about, you know, my deposit and what I could and couldn't do and what I should ask my landlord about. And so I always say, whenever you are trying to do anything to your space, don't talk to your landlord. You need to look at your contract, because your lease is a contract. And if it says that you can do something, then you can do it. If it says you can't and your landlord says that you can, you have to get that put in writing, because what he said is not going to hold up in a court of law. So that was the mistake that I made. The other mistake that I made is I didn't get before pictures. Like before I moved in, I didn't get pictures or video of the place. I did that for this place because when I read my contract, which is my lease, you have to be very careful about what you're doing here. They charge for everything and it's itemized, like doorknobs, paint, removing outlet covers. Like they itemize how much they're gonna charge you for everything. So yeah, I've been a little easy on the DIYs. It won't be going down like that. And I think I did a lot of DIYs and did so much to the other place because it was more of a lower income type of apartment. So the upgrades were not there. It was an older building. But with this building being newer, I'm mainly focused on function and design, but not too much DIY. You know, this lash is annoying. Anyway, so yeah, make sure you read your contract. Make sure you take video or photos and keep it in a safe space so that, you know, if something is called into question, you can defend yourself, okay? All right, so just to recap, we talked about the mistakes that I've made, which I am trying to share so you don't make, which is overpainting. Sis, just commit to one room if you're gonna do it. Not putting your curtains up appropriately. Having poor lighting, meaning just using the overhead lighting or not indulging in ambient lighting, task lighting, floor lighting, all the lighting. Buy the big things first, okay? Trust me, trust me, trust me. Make sure you pay attention to yourself and your new space. If you don't feel good and your body is telling you something, investigate it, because these places are old and there's no telling what's growing in it. So don't be like me. Listen to yourself, listen to your body, and make sure you read that lease. Make sure you take your pictures and take your time. Don't just be out here buying any and everything because it look good in somebody else's space or you keep seeing it on Instagram. Is it right for you? You know, are you going to like this piece in the next few months to the next few years? Trust me, it makes a big difference when you buy it for you. Anywho, as I was saying, yeah, so make sure You do as I say and not as I did. All right, stay glowing, boo. Later.